The medical pod hummed with a sterile finality that Captain Rhea Solis had learned to hate. Shrapnel from the Krevtar assault had severed her spine at the lumbar vertebrae, leaving her legs as useless as decorative appendages. The Alliance doctors spoke in hushed, apologetic tones about honorable retirement and well-earned rest. They didn't understand. Warriors like Rhea didn't rust away in some veterans' colony, watching sunsets and pretending the war wasn't still raging across 100 star systems. She had refused the cybernetic replacements. Too expensive, too slow to manufacture, and the waiting list stretched years long. The Alliance needed every credit for ships and ammunition, not for one broken soldier's pride. So Rhea Solis made her choice. She would find another way. The planet Thuros 9 wasn't listed on any tourist brochure. It was a backwater world where the Alliance maintained a xenobiology research outpost, studying the indigenous Thurosian species, apex predators that resembled a nightmarish fusion of feline grace and reptilian ferocity. They were called the Calith, standing nearly 8 feet tall when fully grown, with obsidian claws that could rend battle armor and intelligence that bordered on unsettling. But it wasn't the adults that interested Rhea. She arrived at the outpost in a hover chair, much to the researchers' confusion. Dr. Chen, the head xenobiologist, met her at the landing pad with barely concealed bewilderment. "Captain Solis, I received your clearance codes, but I don't understand why a decorated war hero would want to visit our—" "Show me the orphaned cubs," Rhea interrupted, her voice carrying the command weight of someone who'd led Marines into hell and brought most of them back. Dr. Chen's expression shifted to comprehension, then concern. "Captain, the Calith cubs are dangerous even in infancy. Their bonding protocols are barely understood and, show me." The nursery dome stank of alien musk and raw meat. 6 cubs prowled within, each the size of a large dog, their scales shimmering in shades of midnight blue and deep crimson. They were the survivors of a Krevtar orbital bombardment that had decimated their native clan structures. Orphans, like so many others this war had created. One cub separated from its siblings immediately. Larger than the others, with scales so dark they seemed to absorb light, it approached Rhea's hover chair without fear. Golden eyes fixed upon her with an intensity that made the guards shift nervously. "That's Ravik," Dr. Chen whispered. "He's been problematic. Refuses to accept handlers. Shows signs of pack leader aggression." Rhea lowered herself from the chair using her arms, letting her useless legs drag behind. She met Ravik's gaze at ground level. The cub tilted its head, processing this strange creature that moved without using its lower limbs. Then Ravik did something that made every researcher in the room gasp. He positioned himself beside Rhea's hip and looked forward, waiting. "Get me a neural interface kit," Rhea said quietly. "The military-grade one." The bonding process took 3 weeks of surgery, calibration, and integration. The technology wasn't new. Pilots had been linking with fighter craft for decades, but no one had attempted it with living creatures, especially not sentient ones like the Calith cubs. The neural bridge allowed Rhea to transmit intent, emotion, and tactical data directly into the cub's consciousness. In return, she received their sensory input, their instincts, their fierce loyalty. Ravik was the primary node, the alpha through which she coordinated the others. The remaining 5 cubs accepted the hierarchy naturally. Ravik led, and Ravik had chosen to follow the broken human who refused to surrender. 6 months later, Captain Rhea Solis returned to active duty. The dropship descended through atmospheric fire toward the contested moon of Helix Prime. Inside, Rhea sat in her modified combat chair, a low-profile throne bristling with weapons systems and neural interface ports. Around her, 6 fully grown Calith warriors prowled, their scales now adorned with tactical armor that bore human military insignias. Ravik stood at her right hand, easily 9 feet of lethal purpose. His armor was custom-forged, fitted with blade extensions on his already formidable claws. The neural link thrummed with his anticipation, his hunger for battle mirroring her own. "Strike Team Solis to command," Rhea spoke into her comm. "Beginning deployment." "Copy that, Captain." "Intel shows Krevtar fortifications at grid 7-7. Heavy resistance expected." Rhea smiled coldly. "Understood. We'll clear it." The dropship's ramp slammed down onto alien soil. Enemy plasma fire immediately lit up the twilight, tracking toward the landed vessel. Ria's vision split into 7 perspectives simultaneously. Her own, plus each of her Calith warriors through the neural bridge. She raised one finger, pointing toward a bunker emplacement 300 meters distant. Through the link, Ravik received not just the target, but her tactical assessment, the approach vector, the timing. He transmitted it to his pack in the Gestalt language of shared consciousness. "You point," Ravik rumbled in his deep, synthesized voice through the translator collar. "We kill." They moved like liquid death. 3 Calith flanked left through the rubble, their scales shifting colors to match the environment. 2 went right, using their incredible strength to bound across obstacles that would stop human soldiers. Ravik stayed with Ria as her chair's anti-grav systems carried her forward. Weapons hot. The Krevtar never stood a chance. Ria's tactical mind, honed through years of human warfare, merged with the Calith's predatory instincts, created something new, something terrifying. She saw through their eyes, felt their muscles bunch and strike, tasted their prey's fear through alien senses. She was the mind. They were the body. Together they were whole. The bunker fell in 47 seconds. By the time Alliance Marines arrived to mop up, Strike Team Solus had cleared 3 fortifications and eliminated over 60 enemy combatants without taking a single casualty. General Cross found Ria afterward, sitting in her chair while her Calith rested around her in a protective circle. Ravik's massive head rested on her lap, her fingers absently scratching behind his auditory ridges. "Captain, what you've done here, it's war, sir," Ria interrupted. "I'm just fighting it with the tools available." Cross stared at the woman who'd refused to accept defeat, who'd turned disability into a new form of warfare. "Command wants to know if this can be replicated, if we can create more teams like yours." Ria glanced at Ravik, feeling his contentment through their bond. "The bond isn't manufactured, General. It's earned. These aren't weapons. They're warriors who chose to fight alongside someone they respected." She met Cross's eyes with iron certainty. "I was broken. They made me whole. Now we break the enemy together." Ravik lifted his head and spoke, his words carrying the weight of absolute conviction. "She points. We kill, until war ends or we fall. And across the galaxy, humanity's enemies learned to fear the broken captain who walked on claws and struck with fangs. The woman who proved that humanity's greatest strength wasn't their bodies, but their refusal to ever truly surrender."